one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Introduction of board. I see Marjan's on the Zoom call today.
Here.
Perfect.
Jeff Grandy.
Marie Tooney.
Paula Siverly.
Randy Carmody.
Aaron Bear.
Trisha Erie.
No agenda revisions this evening. Approval of the board meeting minutes from March 10th.
Make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries. Student representative report is Jeanette here.
Not yet.
Okay, we'll forward on what you get, sir. Superintendent's report, Aaron.
So there's a lot of rhetoric happening on the national level and the state level, and we're just threading the needle. So we're going to just continue to do what we do until or unless otherwise absolutely directed to do so. We've seen many changes just in the 14 years that I've been here, and there's never been something so drastic that we haven't been able to kind of navigate that and still maintain the integrity of the programs that our educators, our administrators deliver, the quality of education that our kids receive, and stick true to what we think our community is deserving of by way of those academic standards. So if something does come to your attention that really makes you go, let me know, and we'll have a dialogue about that. Right now, we've had some folks in the community question, the sustainability of the National School Lunch Program. For us, really hasn't been affected. As you know, we've gone to free lunch for everybody, so that hasn't been impacted. Some of these changes that have happened with some of the monies from the USDOE, we haven't felt really any implications for that. At the state level, there have been a few initiatives that the state has had to stop, but those weren't initiatives that we were part of, and so we weren't really impacted by those things. So I know there's a lot of, I guess, some fear, anxiety, uncertainty out there. And I assure you that, not that we are not cognizant of it, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing because we think that our formula has carried us through multiple administrations, many changes, and still finds our children to be highly successful in the state and across the region. So we'll stay the course. If you don't mind, that's what we're going to do. We are starting classified negotiations tomorrow. Excited to do that. We have good relationships with our classified folks. We're excited to see what it is they think we can try to help them move toward, and do so in a fashion that continues to keep our districts whole and protecting all the great work that our business folks have done, that our HR department has done, all of the great stuff that you folks have endorsed us being able to do. So that'll be tomorrow. We'll hear what it is they are seeking, and then we'll go from there. And then lastly, you may recall, some years ago, I don't know how long ago it was, Kim here, when we started our big CTE move, but it was before Measure 98, and we started a big move towards really improving our CTE, and that has not stopped. We continue to expand or extend our CTE, and we've done that over the years. It's ebbed and it's flowed. There have been some things that we've spun up, some things we've spun down. One of the programs that we've had, and we had through the state, are the HOSA, and then our allied health program was one of the only ones. The HOSA club was one of the only ones in the state just a handful of years ago, and the rest of them, for better or worse, there wasn't money to fund them. There wasn't interest, and Sandra Carter and our high school folks really held onto those. And now it is a marquee program in the state. We're very proud of that, and we have an opportunity to expand that next year. We're going to offer an emergency medical response portion of that program. And so we were fortunate to be able to hire Ryan Fox, who is very esteemed in the medical responder community. Most recently is worked with Portland Fire. This is what he does. And so we're very excited for that. We are hopeful to convert that EMR program into an emergency medical technician program at some point in the near future, so that our students can walk away once they turn 18, certificated to walk out and actually work, hitting the ground running. So some of the barriers that were in our way, there's a number of, I guess, blockades, if you will, red tape from other agencies, and so we were able to navigate that. We were fortunate that Ryan kind of found us through another employee, and that we have some good relationships with Orchid, so we're going to leverage both of those to create the best opportunity for our students. So in light of what's happening, I think, at the state level, federal level, we will continue to expand our program for our kids and do everything in our power to make sure that we put them in positions so that when they do graduate, they can arrive at the future they deserve, whether it's by way of the certification programs, military, four-year colleges, etc. We're going to keep attending to our mission. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Aaron. I didn't get any yellow cards from citizens today. I don't believe we have a certified or classified update today. Consent agenda. I have a motion. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Action items: approval of secondary science adoption. Jill.
So if you'll roll in your packet to the science adoption, I think it's about page 21. OTSD middle and high school teams are recommending that we continue adoption of our current science curriculum. The teams determined that the existing curriculum really gives us confidence to maintain our strong results in science, whereas quite honestly, the other available options to the state really did not do that. As you well know, we typically do better than the state, anywhere between 6 and 18% on our science testing. Something that's surprising was a lot of the curriculums that we were allowed to adopt were already kind of old as far as they were multiple years old, so that was a bit of a surprise. So ultimately, the team is recommending that we re-adopt what we currently have. At middle school, that's Amplify Science by Lawrence Hall, and that's a cost for 7 years of $84,040. The high school, I won't read you the 7 courses. The reason why the adoption we have makes sense is because we offer a lot of science courses, right? And the material we're using fit our very diverse and vast offerings, whereas typically what you'll get adopted is like physics 1 and earth science and chemistry. And so we definitely have a lot of faith in our people who have every year they're taking our curriculum and they're adjusting it for what's best for kids and not sticking with just what's in the book. And that's in part why they have made such great gains. So interestingly enough, the cost for high school, because we own these books, we don't have to repurchase those books. So the cost for 7 years is $20,000 for high school, because what the high school has asked for is $20,000 to add more lab equipment to enhance their labs. So that's terrific. So they'd like to spend $10,000 they want to enhance. So that total for the 7 years of science adoption would be $104,040. So I'm requesting approval for the secondary science adoption.
Any questions for Kim? I'll entertain a motion to approve the secondary science adoption. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Integrated plan for. Integrated plan for.
Totally. So if you want to turn in your packets like 24, 5, 6. So a little background. We used to have 9 grants that kind of stood on their own. And so what ODE did was that they made a strategic effort at first to take 6 grants and put them into one. And those grants were, which you've heard these, high school success, as a student investment account, continuous improvement planning, career technical education, everyday matters, that's attendance, and early indicator intervention system. Well, this biennium, they were like, no, we're gonna go for 9. So instead of the 6 grants, so the idea is we do all of that planning like once, and then you're gonna use all of that information, hopefully to streamline your process to get results, right? So we added 3 grants: Early Literacy Success School Grant, the Career Connected Learning and Federal School Improvement for Comprehensive Targeted Supports for this biennium, and that's like CSI, TSI, if you've heard that. So now these 9 grants become all of that information that is in your packet. The plan encompasses a range of goals, right? And then ultimately that are intended to increase graduation rates and enhance school support systems so students are getting their absolute best education and they're getting the absolute best outcomes. So to summarize it in a way that on page 24, we really have 5 goals, right? You'll see outcome A, B, C, D, E. And that is that we are achieved in years 2025 to 2027, our goal is that we will achieve a 96% graduation rate. That we will achieve at least 75% proficiency on the math statewide assessment. That we will achieve at least 80% proficiency on the language arts statewide assessment. That we continue to create a well-rounded education for all students. And we create an educational environment where children thrive through learning, engaging, and uniting. And then on that page 24, you can see some of the minutia of what we're going to do to get to those outcomes. So page 25 and 26 really are the budget attached for like all of those grants, right? So you'll see that, okay, here's our goal, here's the minutia we're going to do, and this is how we're going to pay for each of those goals on this sheet. So the last page, which I think might be some of the most confusing, partly because of how it's labeled, this is a backup plan. So what ODE says is, okay, if you do all of that and you have money left over, then what are you gonna do? And we actually have to pre-plan for that, and that's that tiered planning. So it's not that we 100% expect we'll get to all of those things. Wouldn't that be great if we got to all of our goals, there was tons of money left over, and then we would carry on with these. Because the state requires that we pre-plan for and pre-approve. So that's what that tiered planning piece really is. So, questions? Does that make sense? Okay, that was great to hear. Okay, so I would seek approval of the plan and the budget if there are no questions.
Can I just add, I just want to add something. So as we go into the budget season, when you're ready to hear Tim explain, right, how we used to be funded. Yeah, that's on 4.4% to somewhere about 33%. You see that grants line start to head up. That's this stuff. And so there still exists a gap between the way we used to be funded, the amount of money that we had to spend to be more nimble and more agile, and what these grants provide. So that you can connect those dots as Tim starts to make that presentation here, I think the 29th maybe of April. So just want to make sure we can connect.
No questions for Kim. We'll entertain a motion to approve the integrated plan and budget.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No information discussion items this month. Announcements, April 29th, May 1st, and May 6th. Our budget committee meetings at 6 o'clock here. May 6th is an OTA board meeting, and May 12th is the next school board meeting here. So the meeting is adjourned.